All right. Emergency response to unit train incidents. How tomorrow moves. CSX. The publication is dedicated to the emergency response, emergency management, homeland security, and law enforcement professionals. Unit train safety supplement overview. The guide provides with the response information emergency first responders dealing with the unit carries with the hazardous materials. This is a supplement to the CSX Community Awareness and Emergency Planning Guide to the Railroad Incidents. This guide is not a substitute for effective regular communications during the rail-related emergency call. The CSX Public Safety Coordination Center, or PSCC, immediately 800-232-0144 to access the most up-to-date hazard information response center. To report CSX Railroad emergency call CSX Public Safety Coordination Center PSCC immediately 800-232-0144. Included in this guide is about CSX unit trains, commodities transported in CSX unit trains, train documentation, railroad resources response protocols, tanker cars, unit train emergency response information, differential product by product, petroleum, crude oil, ethanol, anhydrous ammonia, molten sulfur, acknowledgments. All right, about CSX. Transportation provides a railway intermodal truck transload service to customers over the 23 states, District of Columbia, and Canada, Providence, Quebec, and Ontario, which the team of 34,000 dedicated employees across the 21,000-mile network. CSX moves a wide variety of products, essentially the U.S. economy, ranging from steel to concrete to food to grain, as well as hazardous material safety performance. Safety is a core value of CSX. CSX has invested billions of dollars in the last few years in infrastructure, maintenance, employee training, community safety outreach programs to help ensure the safety and security of the network and communities which are operated. Over the last decade, CSX has reduced the train accidents by more than half and will continue to improve the safety in the years to come in enhancing the technology infrastructure procedure. Community emergency first response playing an integral role safeguarding the communities as well as CSX safety mission, particularly when it comes to transportation of hazardous material. When the railroad is proven that the safest mode of transportation of hazardous materials is most important in emergency first responders communication, communities are aware of the potential safety hazards, emergency, and environmental impacts of the rail incidents involving these might entail. Unit train commodity. The commodities transported by the CSX and the unit trains are driven by the industrial markets and customer demanded by the unit train services offered with the shippers, receivers based on customer needs. The very majority of the commodities CSX transport the unit trains non-hazardous such as grain and coal. This guide focuses on those train commodities that are classified in the U.S. Department of Transportation as material. This guide also provides emergency first responder with an easy access information on how to safely manage an incident involving one of these commodities. CSX unit transportation. The following hazard material: petroleum, crude oil, ethanol, anhydrous ammonia, and molten sulfur. Note that hazardous materials can move with a single car and all types of rail cars across CSX network. What is a unit train? A unit train is a train made up of the rail cars and some commodity throughout the entire train. The unit train typically moves from one point of the origin, the shipper's plant, from the single destination. The train provided with the customer with an efficient, economically service bypassing normal freight classification practices that include separating the cars and train at the rail yard and repositioning them into other trains. Hazardous material shipping papers. The units are compromised with a single commodity throughout the entire train. When observing the long string of rail cars containing the hazardous materials, may indicate all the other cars in the train are in the same. Only way to be certain to access the hazardous material shipping documents. There are four primary ways of accessing hazardous material shipping documents. Locate the train crew, typically located in the lead locomotive of the train. Call CSX PSCC 800-232-0144. Call the State Emergency Response Center. If your state has a CSX Secure Now partnership, contact Chemtrec 800-424-9300. Train crew. If the train crew members will copy the train's hazardous material shipping papers in their possession, are instructed to provide paperwork to the first responders upon request at the site of the train emergency. CSX Public Safety Coordination 800-232-0414. CSX Public Safety Coordination Center is staffed by 24/7 hours, hazardous material safety and immediate access to the train commodity information. Public Safety Coordinating Center utilizes state-of-the-art assets tracking software to access information cannot send with a spreadsheet or PDF through a fax machine, computer, mobile device. The quickest way to access information to provide an operator with a car and locomotive initial number. All right, to report a CSX emergency, call CSX Public Safety Coordinating Center immediately, 800-232-0144. State Emergency Response Center. As part of the Emergency Plan Public Partnership, CSX provided most states in our 23-state rail network in which access network operation workstation. While the railroad will always have the quickest access to information about the train, access the railroad response personal resource. State Emergency Response can access the distributing train consists of hazardous material shipping papers. All right, Chemtrek 800-424-9300. In addition to state planning with the partnership, CSX has given a Chemtrek access to the CSX network operation station to enable the Chemtrek representatives to access information about CSX trains to communicate to responders. Residual shipments, beware of the shipments marked on the shipping paper and residual empty, but they still contain residual amount in the tanker car. All right, your train documentation. A train consists of the primary shipping paper used in the CSX of the railroad operation. When hazardous materials are present in the train contains the following 4 basic sections. A tonnage graph, a list of each of the car of the train, initial number at the beginning with the first car and showing the car numerical train, marking all the cars containing hazardous material in series of H's. Tonnographic hazardous material, key train, train number, origin, time, and consists of C, shipment covered with the Clearance Bureau, R, potential restricted equipment, C, restricted special handling, list reference table, operating rules, mechanical institution, long car, short car, empty trailer, flat car, plate size car type, any load, car initial .un number, key post number, each state, each tons of linkage. A position in the in-train document to notice if the rail car units contain the hazardous material products 4-digit ID number of the car initials and numbers repeated with whether or not the car is loaded or empty, whether the car is containing residual. Alright, your position in the train document, figure 2 position train document. Notice the rail car's units containing hazardous material, train number. The following rail car units contain hazardous material located in the train. You must be positioned in the train in accordance with the federal regulations. Whether the chain and the position of the hazardous material car on the train, the conductor or the designee must immediately update the document to show the new position of all hazardous cars. Position in inhalation hazard zone or zone, environmental sensitive chemicals, radioactive, flammable, and explosives. And it shows a container list. A train listing hazard material description list, again with the showing of the car initial number, the position of the train number, the shipper, and receipt of the emergency telephone, the product hazards class, proper shipping name, standard transportation commodity code or STC, standard transportation commodity code, state structure system, and again specific numbers, specific article, commodity of the group of articles, commodities were offered and transported by the rail. Figure 3, train listing has material description. Train listing has material description. Train number, the cars in this consist of the count of from the rear, front to rear, the CSX and the car numbers. The title of the car number, the petroleum crude, class 3, user emergency contact, shipper contact, chemistry, Fisher, from shipper High Sierra Energy Lip Shipping, address, the to consignee, the con's address in Philadelphia. For hazard special handling instructions describing emergency handling precautions, hazard special handling instructions, emergency handling precautions, class 3 flammable liquid, petroleum crude oil, the material of fire and not involved. If material on fire is not involved in fire, personal protection, environmental consideration, land spill, environmental consideration, water spill, environmental consideration, air spill, first aid response. All right, Railroad Resource Response Protocols. In the event of the emergency, immediately contact CSX Public Safety Coordination Center, 800-232-0414, and providing the initial number to the lead locomotive of the rail car from the train with expedite the PSCC to identify the exact location. The CCS Public Safety Coordination Center compromised communications equipped to assist in the event of the emergency situation, including the rail, instant derailment, container sales. CSX intermodular resources include the Transportation Mechanical Engineering Department review representatives, Material System Environmental Department representatives, Corporate Communications for Public Affairs representatives, CSX Police Department representatives, General Claim representatives, CSX Emergency Response. In the event of the derailment spill, CSX will quickly deploy trained employees and contractor resources. CSX maintains contract agreements with pre-qualified, regulated, audited emergency response contractors and environmental consultants, capability of responding to all the emergency all aspects of the emergency with on the scene. Contractors at the agency CSX will work directly on the CSX control supervision. In addition, with performing assets, monitoring public health, exposure to potential hazardous material contact, CSX contractors perform a number of vital tasks working in the accident and scenes. All right, the contractor trained personnel, firefighting, spill containment expertise, equipment to manage incident involving fire, leak, or potential spill, industrial hygiene, public health contractors, technical expert equipment to perform the on-site and off-site water sampling, environmental response contractors, vacuum equipment, pumping equipment, highway tankers for the recovery of spilled products, environmental recovery contractor, technical expertise, on-site remediation, removal contaminated water and debris for the incident site. Railroad re-railing, wrecking contractors, having equipment such as cranes, on-track lifting equipment, heavy earth-moving equipment, equipment operators and ground crews, lifted, re-railed, damaged cars or locomotives. Your tanker cars are primarily containers used to transport hazardous material on the rail. Basic incident damage assessment, the correct dissemination information concerning location, position of the damage. The system has been established and identified the left and right side of the railway tanker cars regardless of the position of the car. And rotation begins with the B end of the car, and the B end of the car it has its handbrake. The end of the opposite brake end is called the end. To determine whether the side is left and which is the right, one would show one would stand facing the B end to the right to. The right is the right, and to the left is the left. The figure on the next page shows the scheme of all the railway cars, type of typical tanker car fittings, union, manway, safety valve, inside, protective housing, safety valve. Car weight, reporting marks, and capacity in U.S. gallon liters. Reporting marks may be on the top of the railway car. Alright, tanker car marking the stencil. The following photographs show some of the most important stencils of the rail car. Tanker cars of particular interest emergency responded to the specification stencils which appear on the right-hand side of both of the side of the car. Additionally, stencils show the liquid capacity of the car in gallons, liters are shown on both ends of the car. On the left-hand side of the car, the reporting marks. Reporting marks contain the car's initial number that indicate the owner and serial number of the car initial number, the vital retrieving information concerning the car landing, shipper, and consigning the event of the emergency involving the rail car. Every attempt should be made to determine the car's initial number so the information concerning the specific car can be obtained. Rail car's initial numbers are most of the more important piece of the information emergency responders can obtain with the scene of the railroad emergency. All information related to the rail car reference and the use of the car initials and numbers responders shall assist the accurate record of the report, the initials numbers of the cars involved in derailment or other emergency situation. The rail car's initial number and stencil both on side. The rail car to the left on both ends of the rail car, sometimes it's located at the top of the car closest to the B end. Alright, your dot specification stenciling shown right there. Tanker specification, railroad tank cars are divided into two major categories, general service and high pressure cars. Each type of tanker car distinctive characteristics provided with valuable information emergency responser. General service tanker cars have the tank pressure at below 100 psi. Also have exposed valves and fittings at the top and the bottom of the car. Pressure cars are on the other hand with the tank pressures at 100 to 600 psi. Have no exposed valves fitting on the car. Although unloading and unloading valves are located in the protective housing at the top of the car. The following figures illustrate how to might be able to identify the type of the tank involving looking at the car silhouette. Alright, this shows the general surface low pressure tank car not exposed to the fitting of the top of the underneath. The high pressure tanker noted the single protective housing at the top of the car and fittings underneath the car. Your tanker car design of evolution. Railroad tanker cars use the transportation hazards of the Department of Transportation. All flammable liquids moving on the Department of Transportation specified 3 of the series of the tank of the dot 3. When you see the dot 3 marking on the tanker car, indicate that the tanker cars are not for pressure less than 100 psi. Service the dot 3 tanker cars are commonly referred to as general service tank cars. The safety features of the General Dot 3 tanker cars have enhanced over time. Many contain a variety of safety upgrades depending on what the commodity they were built and transferred when they were built. A Dot 3 build after October 2011 transportation flammable liquid screwed ethanol will enhance and safety features additional tank thickness, jacket protection, head shield protection, end of the tank, the rollover protection to prevent shearing from the valve at the top of the car, possibility thermal protection to protect the car from fire. In addition, the recent safety improvement, the freight railroad industry continues to work with customers, government, and more additional improvements. The general service .3 tanker cars are used in transportation of flammable liquids. Evaluation of the railroad industry tanker car standard for crude oil. The railroad industry proposing increase with the federal tanker car and design and construction standard for the new tank of the car is used to be in transported crude oil. The purpose of the comes the previous upgrade proposal for the industry volunteer adopted and has been observant since 2011. The graphic shows an addition of the tank of the components included with the rail industry. High capacity pressure relief valve, current standard, and the latest rail industry proposed. No requirements, high capacity pressure relief devices containing against the rise of internal pressure resulting from the fire provided with the release of the product. Top fittings and protection, current status required with the fitting of the protection to protect the integrity of the valves and fittings to be loaded with the product in the event of the accident. The latest rail industry proposal contains same requirements. Steel tank requires a minimum of a half-inch thickness of steel tank. Unexpected cars with a minimum of a half-inch thick. Minimum of 7/16 of an inch steel tank or jacketed cars. The latest required minimum of something 16 thick the steel thickness of a car. Heat shields. Current standard requires minimum of a half-inch thick heat base shield both ends of the top of the car. Improve the resistance. Require a half-inch thick full-length head sheet with both ends of the tank car. Bottom outlet handles. Current standards no requirement. Latest rail industry proposal requires both outlet handles configured to prevent the handles inadvertently opening the bottom of the outlets event in the accident. Jacket and thermal protection. Current standards requires a minimum of a half-inch thickness steel tank or a 1/18 of an inch steel jacket. Requires the additional bottom of the 18th of an inch, 1/8 of an inch thickness steel jacket around the tank of the car thermal protection. All right, petroleum crude number unit UN number 1267. Hazard class 3 packing group 1, 2, and 3 emergency response guide 128. Safety at a glance. The property of the crude oil can vary significantly in the region. Common varieties of light sweet crude and heavy crude oil. The various majority of the crude oil unit trains on the CSX contain light sweet crude from the back-end region. The only way to know which variety of crude is rail car is contact CSX 800-232-0144. Light sweet crude may contain flammable gas including butane, pentanol, propane. May contain inhalation risk of hydrogen sulfide gas. More violent pressures than point of crude oil. Every crude, often from Canada, it likely contains inhalation risk of hydrogen sulfide gas, typically lower volatile than light crude. Recommending training and resources: Trans-CSR crude oil emergency response training of the trans-carrier. CSX has more specific information than CSX crude by rail. To report CSX Railroad emergency, call CSX Public Safety Coordination Center immediately 800-200-232-044. Then it shows another page with the potential hazard public safeties and emergency responses. Alcohol, NOS, ethanol, unit number 1987, the Department of Hazard Class 3, packing 1, 2, and 3 emergency guidebook, and 127. Safety at a glance. Ethanol is a pure grain alcohol detonator additive, typically with a denature additive denature with additional 2 to 5% gasoline. Fire burns with low blue fuel. Fire may require alcohol restraining foam. Recommended training resource: the Transcar Ethanol Tour Training, the Transcarrier Carrier.com, Renewable Fuel Association Information Training, Ethanol OLRF. Ethanol RFA or Renewable Fuel Association, Ethanol Emergency Response Center, ethanolresponse.com. To report CSX emergency, call CSX Public Safety Coordination Center immediately 800-223. And this gives the potential hazard public safety and emergency response. Ammonia anhydrous unit UN number 1005. Hazard class 2223 Canadian emergency response guide 125. Safety at a glance. An anhydrous ammonia inhalation hazard. Anhydrous ineffective order warning property smells at 3 ppms. Recommended training resource: the Transcar anhydrous ammonia training with the Transcarrier.com. To report CSX Railroad emergency, CSX Public Safety Coordination immediately 800-232-0414. Guide shows potential error to public safety and emergency response. Sulfur Molten UN number 2448. Hazard Class 9 Packaging 3 Emergency Response Guide 133. Safety at a glance may contain inhalation risk hydrogen sulfide gas loaded at 280 degrees with plus or minus 15 degrees sulfide at 250 over time. The transit properties of molten sulfide changes and solidifies becomes aware of heat hazard, liquid phase, and vent with derailment, breaking, leaking contents of elevated temperature. Recommended training resources: Sulfur Institute, Molten Sulfur, Rail Tank Guard, guidance at sulfurinstitute.org. Report the emergency at call CSX Public Safety Coordinated with Cementer immediately 800-232-0144. Potential hazards, public service, emergency hazards, acknowledgments. CSX would like to thank the many individuals, association, company, ship of the refiners who contributed to creating of the documented knowledge insight with the experience and dedication to help provide with emergency first response. While using the training information, a demoable, serviceable shipper received with the contributed public safety information would likely specify with the recognized American Petroleum Association, Association of American Railroads, ARCDAS, U.S. Incorporated, Central Toxicity, Toxicology, Environmental Health, Chemtrig, Fertilizer Institute, Renewable Fuel Association, Sulfur Incident Transcarrier. For questions, comments concerning the document of the contact CSX Transport System, 500 Water Street, J275, Jacksonville, Florida 32202, or CSX.com. Non-emergency comments, questions, 800-TEL-CSX or 877-835-5279. For emergency responder, the document is available online in addition to the emergency response incident self-study guide by contacting cshazmat.core-tx. The Emergency Response Railroad Incidents and Comprehensive Self-Study increases first response agency briefing of the safety working emergency situation railroad. Course materials include the workbook, exam completion, CV certificate, and DVD notes. And then you got your Public Safety Coordination Center, 800-232-014. Now let's go back to, see if we can't read these. Right. Well, there's the crude oil. Alright. These are just bad. Alright, that was going to conclude, that concludes your emergency response unit training incidents.